Dame Helen Mirren was once asked a question that stopped her completely in her tracks. Not about her greatest roles, not about her most celebrated performances, but something far more personal. Someone asked her, after all these years, who are the 5 people you've loved the most? Not the most talented, not the most famous, the ones she actually loved. That question, she says, is much harder than it sounds. Helen spent decades surrounded by remarkable people, some already legends when she met them, others who never quite grasped how deeply they mattered to everyone around them. People always ask her about films and awards and famous directors. What they never see is everything happening between the takes. The waiting, the rehearsals, the quiet cups of tea while someone repositions a camera for the 100th time. That, she says, is where you truly discover who someone is, who stays patient, who stays kind, who makes you laugh when nobody important is watching. Those are the memories that seem to outlast everything else. Alan Rickman was the first name that came to her. Nobody who knew him would be surprised. Yes, the voice was extraordinary. The moment Alan spoke, every conversation in the room quietly stopped. But what Helen remembers isn't the voice. It's the way he said good morning to absolutely everyone on set. Not just fellow actors, but the lighting crew, the runners, the people carrying cables in the background. He was the same person every single day. And when he did speak up, often after long stretches of simply listening, what came out was usually the driest, most perfectly timed thing anyone had said in the last 10 minutes. Half the room laughed. The other half was still figuring out whether he was serious. Michael Gambon had the completely opposite energy. If Alan made a room feel calmer, Michael made it considerably louder and funnier. On those long, dragging days where nobody had done anything for hours except wait, Michael had an instinct for finding exactly the right moment to make everyone stop taking themselves so seriously. One quiet comment, one well-placed observation, and suddenly the whole set was laughing. Then someone would call action, and just like that, no fuss, no transition, he was entirely inside the scene. Helen always admired that. Christopher Plummer she had admired from a distance for years, before they ever really spoke. When they finally did, what struck her wasn't his elegance, though that was real enough. It was how genuinely interested he seemed in whatever the conversation happened to be. Books, restaurants, something completely unrelated to the film industry. She remembers one afternoon waiting for a camera to be repositioned, and the two of them ended up talking about books for nearly half an hour. She can't recall exactly what was said. She just remembers enjoying it enormously. Bob Hoskins never made you feel like a stranger. 5 minutes after meeting him, you felt like you'd known him for years. He asked simple questions and actually waited for the answers. He'd sit down next to the electrician instead of the A-list actors. Whether someone was famous or not simply didn't factor into how he treated them. And Peter O'Toole, well, he was already there before she'd finished thinking. A man who loved a good story, who could pull you into a conversation that spiraled beautifully off in every direction, until neither of you remembered how it started, or noticed how late it had gotten. Helen says what she misses most isn't the films. It's the people. The laughter echoing from the other end of the studio. The conversations that started as nothing and lasted an hour. She was lucky, she says, and you believe her completely. If this kind of storytelling moves you the way it moved us, hit like and subscribe. There's plenty more where that came from.